8:30 a.m. Good morning and welcome to News Done on 92.7 KUFM Benin City. First, the headlines. Solicits media stakeholder support for actualization of second-term vision. IGP orders deployment of 5 mobile police units to Edo State. CJN warns lower courts over reckless remand orders. And on business, Nigeria's inflation hits 14.23%.
And in sports, Genotron William Troost-Ekong confident of victory over Sierra Leone in 2021 AFCON qualifiers.
Details of this and more after this break. I am Charles Oporum. In detail, Edo State Governor Gordon Obaseki says he will need the support of the media and other critical stakeholders to actualize his second-term vision of charting a new course for the sustainable development of the state. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Communication and Orientation, Joses Sede, who met the media executives on behalf of the state government on Monday in Benin City, explains the purpose of the meeting.
I called the media executive to interface with them on the agenda of this government of Governor Obaseki as it takes off the second term. The agenda is simply mega, making Edo great again. The governor is determined to plug Edo State into the new digital age. We want to ensure that it delivers a better and efficient service to the citizens of Edo State. Therefore, I decided to meet with the media executives for the purpose of setting trajectory of discourse, press, and the fourth estate of the realm, and then to ensure objective reportage of government policies and programs in the next 4 years, and to solicit the media executives constructive criticism for redirection while fulfilling their agenda-setting goals.
So they praised the media in Edo State for their professionalism in Governor Obaseki's first term in office.
The Edo media have been very, very responsible. Their integrity is intact and very high in the entire country. Edo media is number one. They are very, very responsible. They don't libel anyone. They've cooperated with government so far. They've educated the people. We want them to keep the flag flying. We want them to continue. We want them not to relent in their hours. Our doors are open. We're always there for them. Let them come and ask. Even if I don't have the answer immediately, I will find the answer and tell them. I also want the media to know that they have a social responsibility to the people of the state. Security issues especially. We must protect the people and the land. There are security issues that we don't just dabble into and then release because we want to be first or we want to make name. There are issues that should not actually be published, and we were taught these things in school. We'll be very, very glad if the media will cooperate with us by reporting government activities objectively.
The Permanent Secretary also urged the media to ensure strict compliance in another vital component of their operations.
Balance is another very, very important point that the media must take into consideration in reporting news. Balance is very important. When we hear from the other side, come and take this other side so that you can balance your news. Somebody can just wake up tomorrow and say, Governor Obaseki has closed down Ekanwa Road. He has driven all the contractors. You don't go to the press like that. Come Some will find out, is it true? Did he send them away? If yes, why did he send them away? So that you can balance your news very well. This is what I'm talking about. So please try and, much as possible, cooperate with the government.
So who highlighted Obaseki's achievements in his first tenure, said the government was more poised to give Edo people more infrastructural, socio-economic, human capital and technological development in his avowed Make Edo Great Again agenda. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered the deployment of 5 mobile police units to Edo State. This is against the backdrop of attacks by suspected cultists and criminal elements, particularly escaping criminals who found their way out of the 2 correctional facilities in Benin City. These follow the tension generated over the recent killings and robbery attacks in Edo and Delta states. The IGP's directive is that escaping prisoners from the correctional facilities in Edo State must be apprehended. It disclosed that the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, has pledged logistics and other necessary supports, including the provision of patrol vehicles to facilitate their operations. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has called for cooperation among relevant agencies in the fight against human trafficking and child labor in the country. The NAPTIP Benin Zonal Commander, Ijoma Udwak, made the call at an awareness campaign against trafficking of youths held in Auchi, Esako West local government area of Edo on Monday. Udwak said the command would not relent in its efforts to stamp out the menace of human trafficking in Edo, adding that a continuous campaign will be staged in the state to achieve the goal. She added that the agency is fully committed to the prevention of all forms of human degradation and exploitation through the coordinated use of the nation's crime and law enforcement resources to stamp out human trafficking in the state. The NAPTIP commander said the command convicted 6 traffickers for foreign sexual exploitation during the COVID-19 lockdown. Udwak advised parents to stop encouraging their children to travel abroad through illegal means at the expense of their lives to make speedy wealth. According to Udwak, anybody caught in the act will be prosecuted alongside those who collaborated with them. House of Representatives Committee on Judiciary on Monday said the annual budgetary allocation of 110 billion naira to the federal judiciary was grossly inadequate in ensuring dispensation of justice. It also said there was an urgent need to implement the electronic filing of court processes and automation of the courts, just as it also lauded President Muhammadu Buhari for the appointment of additional 8 justices of the Supreme Court. The chairman of the committee, Luke Onofiok, made the observations during a budget defense session with the National Judicial Council, the Supreme Court, and other lower courts in the country. He said it was worrisome to note that the 2021 budget estimate for the judiciary, which represents statutory transfers to the judiciary, is inadequate in view of current realities. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, has urged judges of lower courts to desist from issuing reckless remand orders, especially when the court lacks the requisite jurisdiction to entertain such matters. Justice Tanko gave the warning at the virtual opening ceremony of the 2020 Biennial All Nigerian Judges Conference of the Lower Courts, held at the National Judicial Institute in Abuja on Monday. The theme for this year's conference is the role of the lower courts in promoting justice and good governance in Nigeria. Justice Tanko urged judges to observe strict compliance and ethics in discharging their duties. The administrator of the National Judicial Institute in Abuja, Justice Roslyn Bozimo, said the conference has become imperative considering the role the courts play in the country's legal system. The governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, says the federal government will destroy the criminal justice system in states if Executive Order 10 is implemented. Governor Wike said Executive Order 10 of the federal government, which permits the deduction of funds from each state's account to finance the judiciary, is politically motivated and geared towards the 2023 general elections. The governor made this assertion in his keynote address presented at the 3rd Annual Nigerian Criminal Law Review Conference organized by the Rule of Law Development Foundation in Abuja on Monday. Barrister Wike also pointed out that politicization of the issue of security by the federal government has continued to negatively affect the criminal justice system in the country. He said the prevailing cases of kidnapping, banditry and armed robbery, which threatens the very existence and stability of the nation, clearly justifies the establishment of state or community police. Coming up in a moment after this break, federal government replaces paper-based assessment of public servants. Stay with us, please.
At split seconds, there is a lot happening around us, but we can't be everywhere all the time. We've got work catered to, and most importantly, time to rest. And that's why having a reliable partner like KUFM News is important. Sleeping? We don't. We work round the clock, bringing you stories as they break from Nigeria and across the world. We would stop at nothing to keep you informed, because KUFM News is all about you and stories that affect you. Politics, business, human interests, sports, entertainment, just name it. We've got you covered. KUFM News. Timely, precise, spot on.
Welcome back. As part of its commitment to enhancing service delivery in the public service, the federal government on Monday began the gradual phase-out of the Annual Performance Evaluation Report, APA, with the takeoff of the service-wide training for officers on Performance Management System in Abuja. The 3-day training was declared open by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation at the Public Service Institute of Nigeria, Folashade Yemi-Esan, in Abuja. Yemi-Esan said the obvious limitations of APA gave rise to PMS, noting that the latter, which is digitally driven, will help prepare all categories of public officers for goal and objective setting. The federal government has explained the rationale behind the recent increase in the pump price of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol. Timipiri Silva, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, said the hike is as a result of the announcement by an American pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, on its recent breakthrough in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. He told State House correspondents on Monday in Abuja that the announcement of a COVID-19 vaccine by Pfizer triggered a slight increase in the price of crude oil in the global market. According to Silva, the pump price of petrol is directly determined by the price of crude oil in the global market. He stated that it was not the first time the government would give the same explanation whenever the pump price of petrol changed in the country. The minister explained that the government took the decision to deregulate the sector in order to ensure its optimum performance. The Nigerian Labour Congress has rejected a fuel price hike from between 158 naira and 162 naira per litre to 168 naira and 170 naira per litre, saying it has worsened the suffering of Nigerians. It noted that the increase in pump price of petrol was against the spirit and content of what organized labour agreed with government at the last negotiations over the last fuel price increase. Reacting to the development in a statement in Abuja on Monday, the NLC president, Ayuba Waba, noted that the hike crippled the entire economy and threw the country into severe economic crisis and cost lots of jobs in millions. He lamented that Nigerians cannot be made to suffer for the failure of the government to manage the refineries. The organized labour asked the government to declare a state of emergency in the downstream petroleum sector and, as a follow-up to this, enter into contract refining with refineries closer home. This, the NLC pointed out, would ensure the cost of supplying crude oil is negotiated away from the prevailing international market rate and thus leads to reduced landing costs. The Congress underlined the need for the government to stamp out the smuggling of petroleum products out of the country and prosecute smugglers. The National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, says the social media report on some corps members testing positive to coronavirus in Lagos, Kano, and the FCT camps is fake. The NYSC Director, Press and Public Relations, Adenike Adeyemi, stated this in a statement issued in Abuja on Monday night. She said no corps member tested COVID-19 positive either before entry or while in the orientation camps. The Akaridolu Campaign Organization has condemned the recent statement credited to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the last governorship election, Eyitayo Jegede, alleging that some people were after his life. The PDP candidate, in a statement by his campaign organization, had said some people were being threatened by his petition at the Election Petition Tribunal to challenge the victory of Akaridolu in the election. Hence, they plan to get rid of him. But the Akaridolu Campaign Organization, in a statement on Monday, said Jegede was only seeking undue relevance by claiming that his life was being threatened because he filed a petition at the tribunal. The federal government, through the National Examinations Council, NECO, has released the 2020/2021 National Common Entrance Examination results, pegging the national cutoff mark at 142. Announcing the results as presented by the registrar of NECO at a news conference in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, said a total of 70,580 candidates sat for the examinations nationwide, out of which 24,416 candidates passed with a minimum score of 66. Meanwhile, 3 students who recorded the highest scores are Ume Onyago Crucifixio from Anambra State, who scored 199 out of 200 marks, followed by Onwamanam Udochukwu from Enugu State with a score of 198, and Salam Aderimilekum from Lagos, who scored 197 marks. A total of 16,713 candidates were said to be absent from the examination due to the NSAS protests that rocked the country recently. The Minister of Education ordered a comprehensive investigation into the absence of such a huge number of students. Meanwhile, Boko Haram insurgents operating in the Sambisa Forest area of Borno State have come under intense attacks from the Air Task Force of the Operation Lafia Dole. This was disclosed in a statement issued on Monday by the Coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche. He said multiple airstrikes were launched in the vicinity of the Sambisa Forest on 14th of November, adding that several of the terrorists were killed after the Air Task Force dispatched attack aircraft to engage the target areas where the armed fighters were spotted under the dense vegetation. The 2 locations at Gubara and the Sambisa region were said to have been used by the terrorists as logistics bases as well as staging areas to launch attacks. Coming up in a moment on our business news, inflation is highest in Zamfara, Sokoto and Ebonyi in Nigeria. Details in a moment.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 600 billion, and the last kobo. Oh yes, we follow the money. It's all about the business and the business of business. The gains and the losses. The bulls and bears. The rise and falls. The risk and the satisfaction of seeing the last kobo rise to millions. On KUFM's Business News, the simple and complex jargons of business just make sense. Get the trending news on the morning market, forecast, investment opportunities, policy changes, and other breakout information on the ever-busy world of business. KU Business News, Monday to Friday on our news dawn, 6:30 to 7 a.m.
City. And in business this morning, Nigeria's inflation has risen to 14.23% in October, 0.52 percentage points higher than the 13.71% recorded in September. According to the latest data released by the National Bureau of Statistics on Monday, the core food index rose by 17.38%, majorly driven by increases in food items. The agency said the highest increase was recorded in fats and oil, meat, bread and cereals, potatoes, yam and other tubers, fish, fruits, vegetables, alcoholic and food beverages. Core inflation also maintained a steady rise to 11.14% from the 10.58% reported in August this year. Urban inflation rose to 14.81% year-on-year from the 14.31% recorded last month, while rural inflation hit 13.68%. Meanwhile, inflation was highest in Zamfara, Sokoto and Ebonyi, with Lagos, Abuja and Cross River recording the lowest in October. Elsewhere on business, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to address the supply-side variables impacting domestic prices. The Director General of LCCI, Dr. Muda Yusuf, spoke in an interview with reporters in reaction to the October 2020 inflation rates. Yusuf listed the variables impacting domestic prices to include transportation costs, logistics challenges, and exchange rate depreciation. Others said forex liquidity issues, value-added tax increase, climate change, insecurity in farming communities, and structural bottlenecks to production. According to the DG, any mitigation measures will have to be situated in the context of these variables. He said that the potency of monetary policy instrument in tackling inflation was weak. Yusuf projected that inflation was unlikely to abate till after the festivities due to demand-side issues. Business, freight forwarders under the aegis of the Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents (ANLCA) have tasked the federal government to reopen the border in order to benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Area. Nigeria had closed all its land borders, which share boundaries with Benin, Niger, and Cameroon in August last year, to the movement of goods in order to tackle smuggling. The association reminded the federal government that the AFCFTA regime, which hopes to take effect from January 2021, will place Nigerian business people at a disadvantage if the nation's land borders remain closed to trade. In a statement, it asked the government to effect gradual reopening of the closed borders. The statement, signed by the national president, Iju Mwabunike, on November 16, also appeals to lawmakers to stop interfering in cargo clearing. And that's it on business. Over now to sports, where General William Troost Ekong, confident of Super Eagles' win over Sierra Leone in 2021 AFCON qualifiers. Eagles Ibika has more in our sports bulletin this morning.
Special invitation. Lift Above Poverty Organization LAPO cordially invites policy makers, health practitioners, government agencies, NGOs, academia, development partners, and other critical stakeholders to its 27th annual LAPO Development Forum. Theme: improving access to quality maternal and child health care in rural communities. Issues and perspective under the distinguished chairmanship of Honorable Justice Samson Rifle, retired. Keynote speaker, Bishop Professor Vincent Iyawe, former Provost, College of Medicine, Uniben. Chief host, Dr. Godwin A. Yamuson, Chief Executive Officer, LAPO. Date: Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. Time: 10 a.m. prompt. Modality: Zoom webinar. For more inquiries, call Wisdom on 081 6370 6505. Rosemary on 081 3399 4016. Signed, Dr. Ernestus Obadura, Executive Director, LAPO.
92.7 KUFM.
Good morning. Super Eagles technical advisor Genotro and assistant captain William Troost Ekong are confident Nigeria will secure the 3 points against the Leon Stars of Sierra Leone in the second leg of the Group L Match Day 4 2021 AFCON qualifiers in Freetown today. The visitors will hope to put behind their Friday's shock 4-4 draw against the Leon Stars in Benin City. Despite taking a comfortable 4-0 lead, the John Kester-led side fought back to secure a draw. Speaking after the Eagles training session on Monday, Ross said he is confident his players will emerge victorious. Raw will disclose that there are no injury worries, says Victor Osimhen will be missed. The Napoli striker was on target in the reverse session in Benin, dislocated his shoulder and had to return to Naples for further checks. On his part, Troost Ekong said if the Eagles can replicate their first half performance, which saw them race to a 4-0 lead, then victory is guaranteed. The Watford defender said the Siaka Stevens Stadium in Freetown is like any other venue and that the team is ready to play anywhere. And finally, defending champions Algeria have qualified for the 2021 AFCON after playing a 2-2 draw away to Zimbabwe on Monday. Manchester City star Riyad Mahrez scored the final solo goal in the 38th minute to double the visitors' advantage after Andy Delort was scoring in the 34th minute, and it looked like Algeria would make it 4 wins from 4. Zimbabwe pulled a goal back 2 minutes before halftime as striker Knowledge Musuna caught in a free kick from the edge of the area to beat goalkeeper Rise Mboli. That seemed to galvanize the home team, and they created the better chances after the break and were rewarded when Tanzania-based Prince Dube scored the equalizer in its second minute, seconds after coming on as a replacement. Despite giving away a 2-goal lead, Algeria confirmed their place at the next edition in Cameroon, which have been delayed until 2022. They are now the second team after Senegal to qualify for the tournament. Nigeria have 10 points in Group H, 5 ahead of Zimbabwe, with both teams having played 4 matches. In the other Group H match, Botswana defeated Zambia 1-0 to go third with 4 points, while Zambia are bottom with 3 points. And that's sports news on KUFM's News Dawn. My name is Egusa Agbuga. Back to John.
Thank you very much, Egusa, for those sports stories. And of course, with those stories, we come to the end of our package this morning. But before we leave, a quick recap of the headlines. Solicited the media and stakeholder support for the actualization of his second-term vision. The Inspector General of Police has ordered the deployment of 5 mobile police units to Edo State, and the Chief Justice of Nigeria has warned lower courts over reckless remand orders. Do remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. Do not forget, you can listen to us anywhere in the world by visiting our website at www.kufm.net, or you can download our mobile app from the Google Play Store. We are also live on YouTube at KUFM Nigeria, and you can also listen to us on RadioGarden.com. KUFM News Done was produced by Nasahai Wadiai. I'm Charles Oprum saying thanks for listening and good morning.
KUFM 92.7. Turn on excitement.
When it comes to watching your favorite cooking videos, are you a multitasker? A note-taker? A show-off? Or maybe you're all of the above?
Whether it's cooking videos, Naija movies, learning, comedy, or drama, go from one video you love to another on YouTube. With the new video data bundle from MTN, enjoy even more affordable, longer hours